What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Studios podcast. Dale and Grace here to give you all an update on what's been happening on the Storyshow Studios side of things. We're getting close to 500 subs. I wonder where we'll be when the video comes out. If we'll have
Which one?
Gotten past it. This one.
Oh,
like
yeah.
424 right now.
Say it again?
We're at 424 right now. I think we're maybe a little bit over 2 months into our YouTube journey. It's been awesome. Been a big learning experience.
Yeah. It blows my mind that people want to watch it. Like every time. Like, because I'm not the target audience. I'm like, I wouldn't watch this, but people like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
do you know what's interesting?
I'm going to pose a question to you.
Yeah.
My question to you is, because I've gotten this elsewhere. I think about it like, do you need to be a big fan of the genre to make a good piece of content in that genre?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. You know, and it's funny because I was just gonna say, when it comes to when I was in acting school, everyone always flamed me for not knowing about a lot of famous plays or about famous movies and things. And I'm like, and they're like, if you aren't a big, massive fan of these things, why are you trying to do it? And I'm like, I don't know. I enjoy doing it. I didn't necessarily think to watch it. Now there's a point to watch things to learn. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the times, the kind of things that I like making, I don't necessarily like to see myself.
I have as you know, pretty eclectic in my taste in general. But I would say that I think it can give you, I think it comes down to, are you a good storyteller? Period, right? So there's like the skill and craft of telling a story, and then understanding a genre, which is different than necessarily enjoying a genre. Good one for me being horror. I hate horror, but I understand what makes something scary, right?
Mm-hmm. And then there's the vice versa of, I like some things I really love watching, but I'm not necessarily like, I want to make that. I just want to enjoy it.
I totally agree with that too. That is a really good point. And I would say that, to go along this sort of horror example, it's like there's two sides to it. And it depends who you're making it for and stuff like that. But like horror enthusiast, it's funny because when I talk about stories and genres, you'll get feedback sometimes that's about making sure you do deliver on the promise that the people are going into it with. So there are horror expectations, I guess we'll say, right? And so if you don't deliver on that, you might end up alienating the audience that it's intended for. But I think if you're, again, a good storyteller, you're like, well, they're coming here to get scared. So if I'm scaring them, I don't think they're going to complain. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It depends on what your goal is. When it comes
you mentioned that with rom-coms too yesterday.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking about, is like in rom-coms, there are certain things like the meet cute and etc. These certain tropes, I guess, these hallmark, iconic moments that I think people are looking forward to and expecting. But in this case, it was a rom-com for the Hallmark Channel. You're not trying to subvert the genre. For you know what I mean? Like they're trying to deliver it to the people that want that thing. That's what I mean. It's okay as long as you have an understanding of that. And to talk again, I know we said this before on the podcast, that how we got into doing reactions was not necessarily
because we're fans of reaction videos.
I mean, it was inspired by me watching reaction videos and and trying to understand why they were so impactful. And I showed you Hi Ren. Remember Hi Ren, the song, which if you guys are YouTube fans, you would know the song. That's the one about the guy singing about being an artist. He's like British, I get Welsh, maybe British. And he's like playing two different sides. Yeah. And he's like in a hospital jacket. That song blew up and there were tons of reactions to it. and I liked the song, and then I kind of went down a reaction rabbit hole. I'm also a giant Linkin Park fan.
Oh, so. That's what got you? I didn't know that. Okay.
Also, the Linkin Park stuff and the System of a Down stuff, that's the era I grew up in, and just like, I love the videos that's like, classically trained opera singer watches System of a Down, because I want to see her recognize its greatness, you know, even though she has no, like, obviously I think it's like not what she's into, but like I wanted her to respect it.
The appeal of it is kind of validating your experience first time watching whatever, which is right?
Because that's why it's funny when you get the comments like, "Hey,
when I missed,
took so long to react to Light's dad here."
Yeah,
you know, when you
react to the wrong thing. Yeah,
like, oh, you're like, that's what they were waiting for, that moment, and then that we've talked about that, and you just necessarily may not have delivered. Now we want authentic reactions, so that's the big, more important thing.
Yeah.
But I totally understand that you've seen the show. I'm watching it also waiting for you to see certain parts, right?
No, I haven't. What do you mean? You've understand? I've seen this. Oh, you've seen the show.
I understand. Yeah. I've watched the show. You haven't. And it's the experience of sitting there watching it with somebody and having them go through it, freak out when you freaked out, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and I can understand how that can be frustrating.
That is, yeah.
To go back to the original point, it was inspired by watching the content, but it's not a type of content that I watch a lot. What ended up happening was it was more about, what did I think we could do well? What I wanted to do was make content around anime and webtoons, because I want to make anime and webtoons. And so I wanted to work and build a community of people who love that stuff, so that, you know, hopefully when we make our own stuff, they also love it. That's like the dream, right? We tried to figure out what could we be good at that would be good for that community, and then thought about what people and tools we had. Grace is very expressive. I'm sure if you guys are fans, you know, comment below what your favorite kind of expression is from her.
Yeah,
because they're all 100% real, and they've been like that. So it's more like going, damn, I think we could do this different and better than what I've seen specifically in the anime side, because I said, man, I think we could do this. Then I started looking at the content, and not that it's bad, it's like people have their own community, but I was like, I felt that we could take our storytelling ability and really, build that into these reactions. And so if you look at our reactions, I think compared to others, there's like a lot more editing, you know, we're playing with sound effects and music, and the pace is, I just think that we have a different kind of level of pace, that we're really trying to keep you engaged with Grace throughout her experience. And we're also kind of tracking her growth through it. You know, internally we have this sort of running joke that she's like falling in love with Light, this, you know, and she's like having this existential crisis that she's falling in love with.
I had a dinner with my mom. And I talked about it, and she's like, have you met Elle yet? Her favorite character. And I was like, I just met him. And she's like, isn't he so cute? He loves his little sugar and his little coffee. And she's like, he's just gonna get cuter and cuter. And I'm like, I hope that I go to that side at some point, because right now I'm all on the Light side, and I hope I fall for Elle too, or just for Elle. But
that's so fun.
I also wanted, that's a little aside, but I also wanted to say, from the performance perspective, I have said this before about, you know, we keep talking about keeping my authentic reactions and trying to, you know, build it to be more sad. Build the confines. Yes, build the confines within which I can be authentic. And I do get a little heady about it sometimes. Sometimes I'm watching myself and I'm like, why am I reacting? Like, I feel like I'm overreacting. I'm like, why am I? But something about having headphones on makes you talk louder because you can hear yourself. True. And so when I'm talking louder, it feels like it makes me over the show too. Yeah. So it makes me feel like it just makes me extra. And so when I see myself, when I'm like lying in bed and watching myself, I'm like, geez, I'm so extra. But in the moment, I think it's authentic. I don't know. So it's like finding that balance. But then what was nice to hear is my doctor friend of 10 years or whatever. Sometimes I'm talking about it and she's like, oh, let me see what you're talking about. So she watched one of our shorts from Spy Family where I'm talking about Japanese snacks. And she was like, damn, you're like good at this. It's literally like a short that didn't do really well, but she's like, the way you just talk, you just like have a way of like talking where it's like, it feels very like personable, even though you're talking to no one. And I was like, maybe that's it. It's like just personable.
Totally. You connect with
so that was interesting.
Which again comes back to the original thing of like, no, I don't think you have to love it, you know, like the genre, but obviously, okay, I'll put it to you this way, because you need to enjoy what you're doing. That's important. So obviously we asked the question of like, hey, Grace, could you see yourself doing this for years? Because you're going to get known, if it works, you can become known for it. You're going to be a character. They're going to want to see you react to stuff. Yes, we can, you know, if we plan our careers correctly, we can really break out and become a bigger thing, which is what we hope, you know. But if this becomes, you know, the meat of the burger, right, the main thing that drives the channel for a long time, will you enjoy doing it? So we did go there. So we have boxes checked. Do we think we could be awesome at it? Yes. Do we think we're adding something to the genre that they're not getting? I think so. 100%. I think you have a unique perspective because you're Japanese American. You're a genuine reactor and a little over the top in real life too, you know? So like, I think I looked at it going, yeah, I think she would fit with it. I think together with, you know, storytelling and good performance, because it is performance, authentic, but it's still a performance. Like, I think we could actually make some pretty good stuff. And I have been really enjoying the content. And I'm very, very, very picky, right? And I'm like, I think a lot of it is, I think we have so much work to do, and I'm very critical. But I'm like, I could see mainly through how we're editing you and how you're experiencing it. I'm like, I'm totally getting attached to this person and what they're going through. And we're starting to see that in some of the comments and, you know, in our little batch of 424 subscribers.
Yeah, we're getting repeat comments, people coming back, which is really cool. Who would have thought?
Yeah. I think we're gonna make a video on when we get our 500 sub. And I think we're gonna shout out some of the people who've like been active in the community that we're building, because it's really special. I feel like it's the coolest thing. And I've been in film and TV for 10 plus years, easy. Been at all the big festivals. You know, done all these big ads, had ads in Times Square, et cetera, but like, I don't know, nothing is really affecting me.
This stuff is like genuine.
Yeah, it's not getting me the way that these comments are.
It's heartfelt. It's so nice.
It's personal.
And it feels more like when I'm going in that I'm like actually talking to somebody. You know, my strategy is to
have somebody.
What is it called?
To?
Yeah, pretend that I'm talking to somebody, like specifically. Like I imagine my friends. It makes me more comfortable and be more, you know, like nah. But yeah, having the community there is really nice. I'm like, oh my god, I'm talking to these people and they're responding. And you know, also something nice
for us, man.
Yeah, they've been so sweet with the comments. I'm like, where are the ruthless? I mean, of course they're like trolls, but where are the ruthless comments? Not there yet, but. I realized another thing about the performance. I'm always like grumpy when I have to set up the camera and the lights. Like I'm like, this is not my thing. But once even if I've had a bad day, once I'm getting into it, it's kind of like what people say about working out and sports and getting in the zone. I get so in the zone, and it's a fun thing because I'm watching something, and yeah, it's like everything disappears and I forget everything. So get very locked in. It's fun.
I mean, I think that's a good thing, right? You're like, where did the time go? That's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's one of those things where like, that makes me happy. I hope it's
also because I'm thinking about, I mean, I don't know. It's right now it's because I think I'm thinking about a lot of things. I have a lot of things I'm conscious of, you know, how you know, my keeping up my appearance is one. You know, I got to check in a little once in a while to make sure nothing's whack, and how I look, and then being sure I know when to pause, and being very active with the story. So for now, that's what's keeping the time going fast. Yeah, I hope it
also
stays
let's
that
be
way,
honest, like
I don't know. It's a good show.
The stuff that you're watching, yeah, exactly. The stuff you're watching right now is, I really think. Good. Watching you watch Death Note reminds me and makes me feel truly like Death Note is one of the greatest TV shows ever made.
My mom said the same thing this week. Yeah.
Oh, about watching you?
Yeah, she's like, watching you watch it. I'm like, these years later, it's still so good. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And I'm like, wow, I'm glad we decided to do that as one of the first ones. I hope it's not like, you know, we you know, that it doesn't. Yeah, because then you're like, oh, this isn't Death Note, though. This isn't the same feeling.
Right.
But I'm just like, yeah, what a true classic. Really.
Yeah.
And I think that I hope it does kind of open up anime. Like I love being able to talk about anime and stuff, because coming from like film, I was the guy that liked animation and had to explain, like, as filmmakers, as storytellers, like, we need to do it. Their perspective on how to tell stories and what stories they're telling is so different than just like
they American, as in Japanese people.
Yeah, as in the kinds of stories the Japanese are telling through animation. Which is funny because now that it's popular, you can see it's becoming commercialized, and you're seeing less diversity in the content. Like, how many isekais do I need to fucking watch? And like we're doing Oshinoko, so if you guys watch Oshinoko, please convince me in the comments to keep going. Right? Or just watch
I know.
It, you know, because I'm
the only one fighting for it.
And how many isekai do I like? It's just, I don't know, you know. But that's because when I was coming up, like, dude, there's nothing like Evangelion. There's nothing like Death Note. There's nothing like Cowboy Bebop, you know. But now it's like,
my mom was asking me about that. She's like, "Aren't you gonna watch Cowboy?"
Sometime soon. Tell your mom to tell her friends, and we'll get there. Yeah, but like, if you think about now, you're like, hey, wow, there's nothing like My Hero Academia. Really? There's nothing out there like Demon Slayer. Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure Jujutsu Kaisen, and like there's like 50 demon slaying shows, you know, or high school drama shows about high school kids with powers or whatever. And so I'm just like, I don't know, you know. And I'm not saying I'm not saying, of course, that they're not good or worth it or valuable. It's just like, what are we gonna watch? I really need you to watch My Hero and Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, you know?
Right.
As far as like, you're going to be like, oh, these are cool, but it's kind of the same thing. Like, you're going to have similar reactions to all of the shows. You know, so I'm trying to figure out from almost like what's fun about my job is like, I'm curating. I've seen, she hasn't, you know? And until we start having people that really demand something, like, I'm pretty sure the one we're going to have to do is Naruto.
Naruto.
A lot of people already asking for us to
The thing is, I've already seen, I mean, maybe it'd be fun because I've seen up to a point. Yeah, I didn't watch everything. Wait, how many years has it been since I watched it? Oh, yeah. I'd be watching it through very new eyes. Like, bigger girl eyes.
You got the big girl.
I don't want to say I'm a big girl.
See, you were looking at Sasuke one way, now you may be looking at him another way, you know?
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's what's kind of interesting. So until the audience really starts to ask for things, there's that. But also, we want to lead the audience too. So a big thing that I notice is like, I'm not surprised, we have mostly male audience. You know, like 13 to 30. And
it's funny because lately with the Death Note, it's been like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that.
Trying to remind people.
Yeah, I know that people fake
13,
their
14,
thing.
15, you're just clicking 18.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying like I haven't even seen the 18 to 24 bar. I keep seeing 25 to 30 bar. So it's like,
great. You're hitting millennials. I'm down.
Which is older.
They buy things, you know. We're at that age. I'm a millennial. I will buy stuff from you, because I think it's cool. But basically, yeah, I want to make sure that we also are going to diversify the content. I mean, what's interesting is we tried Spy Family. Ain't nobody really click on Spy Family. Not like Death Note.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, because we're so early on in our journey, I'm like, damn, we'll bring it back. But right now, we really need to focus on starting and getting monetized.
But we've had people asking to bring sub versus dub back.
Yes. What they don't realize is those take a lot more to put together, which we will be bringing back. Just it's going to be more infrequently, right?
It's kind of nice knowing that people watch my reactions first and then went back to sub versus dub and realized I'm not an asshole. because when you only see the subverse and stuff, they think I'm an asshole.
That's pretty funny and true. And if
Yeah.
you know, but what it did tell me
I'm
was,
glad we're painting a new
starting
picture.
to make enough content that people are watching more than one of our things. That I think is great, and that they're liking it, and that they're enjoying it. I think it's a beautiful thing. But now comes the hard part of like, damn it, now what's the deal here? Do we stay true to whatever we believe in? Do we cater to an audience? Yada yada yada. It's probably somewhere in the middle, right? But so far our journey getting close to these 500 subs has been very difficult, as one might imagine, but very rewarding. Also, I think, as one might imagine, when you start to see that it might work, you know. I think it's good to get. Well, our expectations are set correctly. I guess I would say that. That's the most important thing. Our timeline is that it's going to take 5 years to build this channel. So let's start there. Because I find that sometimes when I go home or whatever, and I'm like, dude, we got our 400th sub today. You know, my family's kind of like, you don't have 1 million subs? Like, what do you mean?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? In what world do you think that's like, you know, like, it's people are just so looking at outlier. I'm like, no. Every fan counts. Everybody. And the people that are here today, they're the ones that we have to really honor and respect. The ones that champion us, the ones that actually say, you need to see this, buddy, and help us grow this thing. Those are the real fans that, you know, that we're going to want to make sure, you know, are honored, I guess, as we grow. Because the one thing I feel good about now is, like, I'm not going to stop. Like, I believe, you know. And so that's kind of where I've come to today as we start to get closer to 500 subs, which is halfway to 1,000. And we're getting that monetization, baby. We're going to fight for that monetization, become a true YouTuber, you know, and hopefully continue to deliver content people enjoy.
Yeah.
Comment below. Let us know how you guys are feeling. We appreciate you. We thank you. And we'll catch up with you next time.